Hello guys and welcome to a new delivery in this daily art vlog series. For today's video I wanted to talk a bit about making mistakes and how this can affect your art. I'm a very strong advocate that making mistakes is something that really gives character to your paintings and to your art in general, and you can definitely have happy mistakes in your art. And those are the best kinds of mistakes because sometimes like the best things in our paintings come from something that we didn't have planned actually. But sometimes you can also completely ruin your pieces if you make a mistake, or you feel like you completely ruin it, like I did with this one. I was very happy in the beginning with everything and how it was going to turn out, but then in the end I made something that actually like brought down the whole thing. And yeah, I wanted to talk about that because I was really feeling down that day. And even though many people online and everything told me that it looked fine, I knew that it didn't, like it could look better, and that was something that I couldn't live with. So yeah, the story behind this painting, I actually wanted to continue with this idea that I had in mind of making a series of like plant people. And I was actually making that in the beginning of my, not art career, but in the beginning of my sketchbook that I already finished. I decided to start with like a theme, and I wanted to make a plant people. But I really didn't follow much through it because the pages were kind of small, and at the time I wasn't really comfortable with working in that size. I mean, they weren't definitely small because it's bigger than just your regular notebook. If you've ever used Canson sketchbooks, then you know what I'm talking about. Or I don't know if it's I believe it's Canson, the XL series. And so, you know, they have this size of notebook or sketchbook that is a little bit bigger than your traditional notebook, and that's the one that I had. And so it was definitely not small at all, but I just didn't really know how to lay out things. I wanted to have everything organized, and in the end it looked wonky or very like not aesthetically pleasing. And so I decided to just take a break from the plant people thing and work on other stuff. But yeah, I wanted to retake that concept with this painting, and so this was supposed to be like a plum fairy, you know, the fruit that's purple and everything. And so I wanted to have a very violetly how do you say it, palette or color scheme. And yeah, in the beginning it worked fine because the model that I looked for on Pinterest had actually this very beautiful wine makeup kind of color, you know, very red but not so, like, not hot red, more of a warm kind of red. And I thought it would look nice if I were to have or attempt to make her have a very violetly skin tone, so it wasn't going to be like just a green girl with some leaves that like the one that I did. If you follow me on Instagram, I recently did a piece like that, or well, a very tiny sketch in which I just painted the face in a green color, very light but green in the end. And yeah, I didn't want to have that in this case. I wanted to be a more high fashion kind of portrait, or I don't know, like less illustration like and more fine art looking piece. So yeah, that's why I decided to make a violet kind of skin tone. Everything was working out fine. Everything was coming out the way that I wanted to. Like the eyes I really liked how the eyes turned out, and I really liked how the face in general turned out, the lips, the nose, everything, the composition, the hands, all of it. But then I made a mistake in the end. And I'm gonna show you later on what I'm talking about. And yeah, another thing that I also been trying to implement in my paintings is that I've always been obsessed with blue eyes. I don't know if it's because I don't have them or because I don't see them very often, but I really do like icy blue eyes. Not the baby blue kind of eyes, but more like to the white side of the spectrum blue. And yeah, that's something that I've been trying to do on my paintings, and I finally figured out a way in which I can have these very bright, very intense, white looking eyes. And that's something that I'm really excited about and that I want to incorporate in all of my other portraits that I do in the future. And yeah, maybe some days I'll do green or yellow or I don't know, some other colored eye portrait, but for the most part I'm really interested in further working with blue-eyed people because I don't know, I really like the color and how everything looks. And yeah, so right now I decided to add also a bit of gray to the painting because I thought that it would look even more silverish, like her skin tone and everything, and it did work in the end. And I was really pleased with the shading of the eyes also because they really communicated that strong stare or glance that I wanted to portray from the actual reference photo. And later on, I also add a bit of solvent because I've noticed that in my past pieces in which I've used solvent, everything looks so much more smoother and so much more like if you were to use oils or acrylics, and that's something that I really enjoy, the look of it. And that's especially true if you're working on a textured colored watercolor paper, because you know the colored pencils can't really get into the indentations of the texture of the watercolor paper, and when you add solvent, like everything smoothens out and it looks just so much better. Now, that's because, I don't know, I feel like it gives a softer look in the end. So if you're going for a more texturized final look, then I guess you would be fine without using solvent. But if you want to have more like an oils or acrylics kind of look to your paintings, then make sure you're using solvent. Now here's the part in which I ruined everything, and it was when I added colored pencil butterflies. I knew from the beginning that I wanted to add butterflies to the background, like very faded and very abstract looking butterflies, but then I don't know why I decided to do them in colored pencils. And the mistake in here was that the colors didn't really match the lightness and the saturation of the background, and so they stood out too strongly, and they took away completely the attention from the eyes and the portrait in general. So yeah, I actually didn't even finish the hand, didn't finish the hair, didn't finish everything because I didn't really want to keep on working on this portrait. But yeah, that's my take on mistakes, and I hope you liked the video, and if you did, make sure you leave a thumbs up and also subscribe if you want to see more content, and I'll see you in the next one.